Hey there guys, Dragon Master here, and I want to welcome you to Star Wars and Earth, Unity, Episode 9, The Battle for Naboo. Just want to apologize for how my last video, if it wasn't all that good, I was doing some other stuff, so this one will be much better, so I do apologize if any of you guys didn't like the last one, with like how my voice sounded or editing. So yeah, that's one of the things I only wanted to say, so without further ado, let's get straight into the video. We start off a few weeks after the meeting. Currently, Naboo is currently going through some big preparations. Currently, there is a Republic fleet stationed along with the Jedi Task Force's strike force, which Luke Skywalker, the Grand Master himself, is leading. They are currently on a space station that was built for Naboo's protection. This station is currently housing many troops which are being sent down to the ground to support important positions. Currently on this station, Luke Skywalker is currently looking over the fleet. He senses something is about to happen as he looks and says, "Jason, I know you're coming. I sense something else. The Force is warning me of someone lurking with you." He wonders before the station's alarms go off and they hear Republic personnel and someone on the speaker says, "Attention, attention, all hands to station. We have an Imperial Alliance fleet. They are currently inbound to the planet. All hands to station," they say. And Luke immediately sighs before he runs off to his X-Wing, his legendary X-Wing fighter. The Naboo's defense force, along with the New Republic's forces, get into position. And then they see the Imperial Alliance fleet make its way into the system. There are many Star Destroyers, including Jason's personal one. Luke sighs and then asks the station to contact him while he gets in his X-Wing, and then to contact Jason. They just do that, and Jason and Luke finally meet, well, I guess talk face to face, as Jason answers it and says, "Well, I knew the moment I arrived in the system I would sense you. So it seems you've come to stop me, Uncle Luke," he says. And Luke would say, "Jason, please, you don't have to do this. The people of Naboo have been loyal to the Republic for years, and they've decided they do not want to join you, and that you should respect their wishes. Naboo wasn't even one of the major players which helped restore the New Republic. And you're right on," and then Jason says, "You're right on that. But it's also a symbol, as it is the former Emperor's home, Palpatine's home, and I've decided to take it, as it's also an important planet in the Mid-Rim due to its influence." Jason would say, and then, "You have two options, Uncle. You can either leave this system or you can not, and take your New Republic dogs with you," he says. Says, "Jason, I can't do that." And then, "So I guess I'm sorry then, Uncle," he would say, and then he ordered his fleet to attack. And the New Republic's fleet and the Imperial's fleet would engage each other and a dogfight would ensue, as both fleets began to charge and attack one another. Luke flew his X-Wing and attacked TIE fighters and any Imperial ships that stragged off from the rest of them, and he proved to be an excellent pilot, taking out dozens of kill shots. While the new and well, I guess the new Imperial Alliance's fleet proved its worth, as it tore apart New Republic vessels along with Nabooan ships. Jason, on his personal Star Destroyer, ordered his super weapon to begin charging. While the weapon charged, Luke saw this and then ordered, "All X-Wings and fighters on me. We have to take that super weapon out," he says, and they all charge. Luke uses the Force to maneuver and dodge while also using his excellent pilot skills. It works as he carves his way through, along with many X-Wing and fighters, before they reach the weapon. They concentrate many of their missiles and fire upon it, and to their relief, the vessel is starting to take huge amounts of damage. Along with the weapon, Jason sees this and sighs. I knew you would try this, Uncle, and ordered that begin transferring all non-essential systems to shields and the weapon. Also, get me in contact with, he says. But then we cut back to Luke, as I don't want to spoil the surprise yet. As Luke is cutting through many of the forces, he noticed that they're no longer doing as much as damage. We need to hurry. How can we stop this weapon, he thinks. Roy thinks, perfect. Alright, X-Wing's on me. And then he and the X-Wing then form up into a sort of strange fighter group position as he's taking one from the Terran's books and then goes up and way up from the battlefield along with the X-Wings, much to the confusion of many. Many are confused by this, but Jason then realizes what he's about to do and says, damn, Uncle, you are clever, he says. As then Luke orders them to turn off their engines, and they do that as they drift and drift for a few minutes before they reach their position. And he says, on, all engines on now, and he says, and then they shoot off. And prepare missiles, he says, as they continue speeding down straight to the weapon on Jason's Star Destroyer. And then he says, fire! And then they let loose. The Super Star Destroyer's weapon is about to fire before the missiles hit and cause a ginormous explosion, which takes out the weapon and causes huge amounts of damage to Jason's Super Star Destroyer. But sadly for the fighters, as they celebrate, along with the New Republic forces and Nabooans, Jason thought that something might happen, as the Force had warned him. And he contacts and says, I guess it's time now, he says. And then we see that mysterious hood figure again and says, indeed. He says as he uses the Force, this hooded figure to tear apart the weapon and open a hole up. As there is a hole now in the ship, which he gets in position. With that said, he begins charging his power, as lightning begins to crackle from his hands, coming from all sorts of colors, to red, blue, purple, and even black lightning begins to crackle in his fingers, before it becomes a rainbow color of sorts, before finally settling on a sort of mix of color and energy, before this hooded figure says, time for the Republic to die, and then he fires it through the whole of this ship as he is uninfected by space. As the lightning crackles and destroys anything in its path before it reaches the station, and then cuts a hole straight through the station, tearing it literally apart. As the station explodes in a mass explosion, much to the horror of Luke, as he senses something so dark on that ship and then looks. What was that? He then gets closer to the hole before he sees the hooded figure, before the hooded figure runs off and disappears. Mm. Oh my god. And then he realizes something. He then sees that the Nabooans and New Republic forces have broken off, and it seems to be retreating. He then contacts the Admiral and says, what's going on? I'm sorry, Master Jedi, but we've been called back. It seems we have no choice, as something has happened. And he asks, what is it? He says that there's been a bombing on Coruscant, and they've requested all ships to return back. He's horrified by this. He asks, what was bombed? The Senate building. He then is then shocked. He says, what about the planet? We're gonna have to abandon you. But I will not abandon these people, Luke would say. I'm sorry, sir, but we have no choice. He says, all Jedi, link up with me. We're heading down to the planet. All Jedi ships do that, and along with the Nabooan ships, while the New Republic ships retreat. Jason is currently on his Super Star Destroyer as he watches his forces begin heading down for the surface. The battle for Naboo has just begun, but it seems we've already won space and the sky, it seems, he chuckles, as he looks down as they descend to the planet feed. Across the galaxy, in the Mandalorian system, all is well before multiple ships come out of hyperspace. But these aren't any ordinary ships. These belong to the Hutt cartel. And that is where we're going to leave it off. So as you can see, we've had some crazy action. Luke and Jason have talked a bit. Luke sort of used something from the Terrans to do sort of their crazy feats as the Terrans are known to do in many Star Wars what ifs. And to do unconventional things which the galaxy hasn't seen. And also, who was that hooded figure? And how was he able to manipulate the Force like that? Now, I'm just going to say this hooded figure, is a very dangerous opponent. Now, it's not Darth Krayt, but it's someone a few couple thousand years old and ancient from the Old Republic era. Who could it be? But I guess we're going to have to find out and see in the next few chapters. So without further ado, see you.